The trade deadline season is so much fun to follow around the Ontario Hockey League because every year is different. You don't know which teams are ultimately going to come out of the woodwork as a buyer or a seller. And this year, that's the Kingston Frontenacs. They came out swinging as they've been busy over the last 12 hours. So let's catch you up on the trades that have happened. And it all starts with Kingston and Saginaw. They did two trades. So let's combine those two trades because really it's fascinating when you look at it because for Saginaw, they have sent Joey Willis, Ethan Hay, and Will Bishop to the Kingston Frontenacs for Ethan Weir, Xander Velliaris, and 16 draft picks, and 4 of those are second rounders. So the Kingston Frontenacs putting their chips into the middle. They're all in for this run in the Eastern Conference. And Kingston, to an extent, has been a bit of a surprise in the Eastern Conference. At the start of the year, I considered Kingston a bit of a dark horse, but right now challenging for top spot in the Eastern Conference or the East Division. Kingston likes what they see. So they've brought some experience. Willis, Hay, and Bishop, all members of the Memorial Cup champion Saginaw Spirit last year. And for Saginaw, the question for them was, would they sell? Because their draft cupboard, it was bare. And boy, oh boy, 16 draft picks, that kind of solves their problem. But that's the thing about the Ontario Hockey League. You see teams trading draft picks at will. It's kind of a shell game with the picks as they go back and forth. And with the whole cycle of rebuilding and then buying and being a contender, you see teams, the big pile of draft picks, they do come and go. So let's break down the talent going both ways. Starting off with Joey Willis, coming off that gold medal run with Team USA at the World Juniors, 17 goals, 17 assists in this season, 34 points in 26 games of work. Willis, a fantastic shot with the Saginaw Spirit, who are right now one of the top scoring teams in the OHL. So this is going to hurt Saginaw a little bit, giving up a player like Joey Willis. But he should fit in nicely. He is at 2005, so there's the off chance that he does come back for an overage season with the Kingston Frontenacs. He was also drafted by the Nashville Predators in the fourth round of the 2023 NHL entry draft. So Willis, one of the key pieces, he is a centerman, so that'll add to their depth for a run into the playoffs. And then Ethan Hay, serving as captain for the Saginaw Spirit. So he's got those leadership qualities. 8 goals, 5 assists, though, just 13 points in 32 games. So a little disappointing there when it comes to his point totals, being a centerman, but he is pretty handy in the faceoff dot. That's where he'll be counted upon for Kingston going forward. And he was also a big piece last year that Saginaw acquired from the Flint Firebirds in the first half of the season. As it's kind of rare seeing Flint and Saginaw do trades. That's what happened last year, but now Ethan Hay's services being moved to the Eastern Conference to join the Kingston Frontenacs. And also on the blue line, Will Bishop, originally drafted by the Sudbury Wolves. Not an offensive threat from the blue line typically. He's 6'6", though. So he's a big, tall defenseman, 210 pounds. So you do get that size that I think Kingston was looking for, considering that Andrew Gibson ended up going to the Oshawa Generals. So they went for Will Bishop. Bishop, 3 goals, 9 assists this season, 12 points in 34 games of work. So like I said, don't expect to see a lot of point totals from him, but he is a shutdown defenseman typically and was a big key piece for the Saginaw Spirit in the playoffs last year. So for Saginaw, apparently from what I was told, they were talking to multiple teams for players like Hay and Willis. I understand Sudbury and Flint were trying to entice Hay to come their way, along with Willis potentially going to Flint. But the Kingston Frontenacs and 16 draft picks, I think, is what really sealed the deal here for these 3 players to go east. But going the other way, some young talent for the Saginaw Spirit. Ethan Weir, still looking for his first career OHL goal. He's played in a total of 21 games in the OHL up to this point. 1 assist, so we'll see if he can find his game with the Saginaw Spirit. Maybe he'll get some extra ice time with Saginaw, but still, the Spirit, they do have some depth, but we'll have to wait and see if there are any more moves between now and Friday's trade deadline. So Ethan Weir, probably a bit of a project. And then we have Xander Velliaris going to Saginaw. Just 1 assist so far this season. He's also a 2007, so a young defenseman, 6'3", so he does have a bit of that height. And we'll see how that transpires for the Saginaw Spirit going forward. Now, after that trade, the Kingston Frontenacs also making a move with the Sarnia Sting. This one kind of a quieter move, sending Matthew Manza's playing rights to the Sarnia Sting. They do get 3 picks back, a 10th and 2 conditional 4th round picks. For Manza, he's been playing in the BCHL with the Chilliwack Chiefs. He's only appeared in 12 games, though. 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. He is committed to Ohio State University, so because of that NCAA vote, Saginaw could maybe convince him to join them early next season, but time will tell. And then after that, this trade, kind of a full circle moment. It's Luke McNamara going from the Kingston Frontenacs to the Windsor Spitfires for a 5th-round pick in 2025, and that pick actually belongs to the Niagara Ice Dogs. And for Miedema, like I said, he started his career with the Windsor Spitfires and then ended up being moved to Kingston. That was back in the 2022-23 season. And Miedema, I'm a little surprised by this, but when you do get the talent that you're getting from the Saginaw Spirit, they decide to move on from Miedema. He 14 goals, 24 assists, 38 points, so not too bad, a point-per-game player for the Kingston Frontenacs. And for Windsor, we weren't expecting them to make any sort of splashes here at the trade deadline. They were looking to maybe add some depth, and that's what they did here, adding Miedema from the Kingston Frontenacs. And another big trade today, this one we were kind of waiting for it to happen. Konnor Smith has been traded from the Owen Sound Attack to the Brampton Steelheads. Apparently, they had a couple of deals in place earlier, but some no movement clauses came into effect, preventing a deal. So this one involves no players going back to Owen Sound. So it's Konnor Smith for 7 draft picks, including Windsor's 2nd in 2025 and London's 2nd in 2028. So not too bad there for the Owen Sound Attack, who are in a rebuild mode, getting those picks for Konnor Smith, who of course is an Anaheim Ducks prospect and was also a member of the Peterborough Pete's championship run 2 years ago. So he's a big defenseman, 6'7", 217 pounds. He's only appeared in 8 games this season, 4 goals, 4 assists, but he will be counted upon for the Brampton Steelheads as they were looking to add to stay competitive in the Eastern Conference. But now the question becomes, who are they going to let go as an overager? Because as of tomorrow at noon, you have to have your lineup down to 3 overagers. Right now, they're at 4 with Konnor Smith, along with Chase Lefebvre, who Brampton picked up from Peterborough earlier this season. Spencer Sova, they picked up from the Erie Otters before training camp. And then there's also Stevie Leskovar, who's been with the organization since being acquired a few years ago from the Peterborough Petes. That was, I believe that was the Owen Beck trade from the Steelheads to Peterborough, if my memory serves me right. But still, those are 4 overagers. So just like Ottawa, the Brampton Steelheads now have to address their OA situation, try to either find a home for one of their extra overagers, or one will have to be let go and then playing either Tier 2 or find another league to join. But some tough questions there now for the Steelheads, but really not surprising after seeing the Barrie Colts. They added their players from North Bay, Oshawa also making their move with the Sioux Greyhounds, and I don't think Brampton's done yet. This is a team that's been off to a very slow start. Their first half has been a little disappointing considering they're now 7th in the Eastern Conference standings when many picked them to lead the Eastern Conference after they acquired Carson Rakoff from the Kitchener Rangers. So Brampton, I don't think, is done, and I don't think some of the other teams in the East are done either. But what's interesting is the Sudbury Wolves, like I said earlier, were inquiring about Ethan Hay. It looked like there was a deal done between Sudbury and Saginaw, and then Kingston came in to take Ethan Hay. So it sounds like the Wolves looking to add, and with Niagara, do they add some depth? So that means there's at least 7 teams in the Eastern Conference that are looking to contend for the title, which means it's going to be a dogfight come playoff time in the Eastern Conference. Well, in the West, the London Knights, they added Cam Allen before the winter break, but everyone else seems to be selling off. Yeah, Windsor, they added Miedema, but it's not the big splash that you would expect from a contender. Both Windsor and Kitchener kind of ahead of their curve with their junior cycle, and I think that's why everything's looking very East heavy here at this year's OHL trade deadline. But a lot can happen now that Saginaw has those picks. Do they flip some of them to maybe add to their depth? You know, we want to go for another run with Michael Misa and Zane Perek, but we'll have to wait and see. So the overager trade deadline, less than 24 hours away. It's tomorrow at noon. And then the OHL trade deadline is Friday at noon. So that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on any of these moves. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And reminder, we are doing the OHL trade deadline live stream on the channel Friday starting at 9 a.m.